Chapter 18. You have a plan? Sure, I said. We bluff. We tell the get controllers up their way to come to fix the computers and we fly at sorry ship away. I want to sound casual, nonchalant. That way, the firepods all sound are starting some terrifying battle. It was no big deal. He stared at me for red jelly Taxon eyes. Okay, lead the way. We slid out from beneath the ship's cradle, motored on its rows of Taxon kneeling at the ramp of the ship. Just the bare board Taxon technicians going to work, totally calm. Or as calm as any Taxon, even a controller, can ever be. There's simply no way to explain the awful hunger of a Taxon. It's beyond any hunger you can imagine. It's constant like a screaming voice in your head. Screaming so loud you can't think. Every single living thing you see or smell is just meat. You hear beating heart and smell of rushing blood and the hunger almost takes over. And when someone is injured, when blood is spilled, well, then as I knew personally, hunger was all but impossible to resist. I came in a hunch here eating an injured Taxon myself. Not something I wanted to remember, but something I'd never forget. Don't hesitate, advised Oberon. Several gets turned to blink curiously, like you're on their way to work. Shut up, Elmagori said harshly. Once he got out of the chill of fear, something was terribly wrong. There was no stopping now, rudely pushed past the standards in the way. The Get controllers were resentful, but they had no reason to suspect us. We are Taxons, so they assume we are Taxon controllers. We look our day to work, no reason to be suspicious, except one of them was. One stood right in front of us, seeming unimpressed. He spoke in guard, the language of interstellar trade. It sounded hard on his tongue, but I can understand. What are you doing here? It was hard for him to make the sounds, almost impossible for me with a Taxon tongue and mouth, but I couldn't use thought speak. I might as well announce I was an Andalite. I had to try and speak out with a 3-foot-long Taxon tongue. So I tried, which even close to the sounds I wanted to make. What I meant to say was computer repair, but the Taxon tongue was so long we hardly even use the mouth to make sounds. He stared at me with his tiny yellow eyes. He pointed furiously at a small computer pad. Use pad. Some kind of translator once said, some primitive version of translator chips let me do it. He reached one of his weak 2-finger Taxon hands to press start buttons, and a pad came to disembodied voice being Gallard. Computer repair. He snorted angrily. You Taxon wearers think you own the planet. Arrogant as heart, but sure. Wearers, that's a fun word. Oberon and I ship past him, unfortunately so cramped and low we could barely drag our massive bodies inside. The bridge of Skritnow ship was a nickel Skritnow ship we boarded to rescue 2 humans. There were 2 cocoon Skrit in the corner. They wouldn't cause any trouble. Didn't look ready to hatch just yet. There's an active Skrit, what Lauren describes as a giant cockroach, going around almost brainlessly, polishing and cleaving. There were no nods I could see. Aside from the Skrit, the bridge was empty. So far so good. I'm going to close the hatch. We demorph, power up, and we all plan before they know what hit them. Yeah, okay, Oberon said. Ready? Yep, I focus on breathing, trying to fight a raging hunger. Okay, do it. He punched a pad to close the hatch door, so shut me a snug vacuum seal shroop. I was on my thoughts on demorphing and wanted out of that body. Two of us could barely move in a cramped bridge, alone fly a ship. The idiot Skrit kept banging against me. I don't know how to find a way to go around. Okay, they're literally brainless. Like, well, not literally brainless, but they're not... Are they even sentient at that point? Jeez, I guess not. I guess it's kind of like a giant baby sort of thing? I don't know. Also, to be fair, Algae, I get it. The description of them devouring things makes me hungry, too. I demorphed and shoved that vile body as fast as I could for the awful hunger weakened my Andalite mind rise free of the Taxon instincts. Thump, thump, thump. The gates are in a hole. What are you doing? Open her up! I ignored the noise and punched the engine power. Managed to get the wisely powered up now. I realized that Oberon wasn't demorphing. What are you waiting for? Demorph. He didn't say anything. Thump, thump, thump. Open up. Power down, you fool. Oberon, what are you up to? Demorph, I yelled. I guess I hope that yelling would make it happen. I already knew. He stared at me with the shivering red jelly eyes and I knew. More quietly speaking, I said, come on, Oberon. Demorph. I really wish I could, Elvangori said. I really wish I could. There's no time to talk about it. We got the Skritnow ship up and out of that cradle before it occurred to me. Heard the ships we were stealing. No time to talk, but it's time to feel something of the terror Oberon felt. I haven't been Taxon morph. I felt the hunger. I'd rather be dead than trapped in that body forever. Oberon's weak Taxon arms, quote unquote, push all the right buttons with a soft vibration of the engines reaching full power. The Gate controllers must have felt too. They suddenly stopped pounding. They were probably running for dear life. The radiation blast engines would be captured and contained within the cradle. If you're still hanging around that cradle and engines came on, you wouldn't last long. Ready? I asked him. Ready? Then hang on, because I don't know how much kick these ships have. I punched up a bird when we rose from the pad, but unfortunately we didn't rise very quickly. What's the matter? This thing I yelled. Look at this airspeed indicator. We're doing a bare 1,000 miles an hour. Acceleration was way too slow. It'll take us 10 minutes to go escape velocity. Your ship's yellow aren't even thinking going to zero space. The time machine uses it to escape through time. No, we don't know how fast it works, so we try to activate the power switch to rely on every Earth sense within a million miles. What if it takes 10 minutes to work? Besides, we don't know who might get mad if we use that thing. What, you're worried about some prince will say if we survive? I'm not worried our superiors, or at least if my career in the military are destroyed. Then what are you... Then he fell silent and laughed. Are you kidding me? Or what about some mythical Elemist? Oh, it is pronounced like Elemist. Mythical, and that's what some people say about the Time Matrix. Someone built that machine. Who else if not them? And do we want to take a chance of making them angry? I felt a little foolish. My parents told me Elemist stories when I was a child. Stories of all powerful and inexplicable creatures sometimes interfered in the affairs of simpler species. I have expected some snide remark, but he didn't answer. He stared at the display board. And at least I think he was staring. Taxon eyes don't exactly focus like normal ones do. Your patrol ship coming up an intercept vector. It's a bug fighter. Honestly, I figure it's worth considering at the very least, especially since we know that Elemist is a real thing, considering the previous books and all. And, I mean, it's some sort of time machine, right? So, who could have made a thing instead of something way, way more advanced than even them? Something would probably notice it's being used, and they might not like it. Who knows? Can we take on a Bugfire? Are you kidding us? You're not ever have a second-hand low-power Dracon beams you're selling for scrap. That thing is 2 twin penetrator class Dracon beams. We can't trade shots of them. He was right, I should remember that, but I was shaking, confused, my brain was spinning a million miles an hour. I had to think. Focus. The airspeed gauge was now showed 2,000 miles a... No, wait, 2,020 miles per hour. The hull was blissing hot from the air resistance. Wait a minute, Bugfires are still in atmosphere, right? They can handle the heat. We can, so far at least. They're doing better than 2,000 miles an hour. We're faster than they are in the atmosphere. You want to try to run them in the atmosphere? You have a better option? We have a second fighter on us, 2 more launching. We're going to the grass, I said, hoping to be more confident. I felt I need direct vision, real time, real aspect. Open a window. He played the console and suddenly a panel in front of me came a window. I see superheated air blazing around the ship. I felt our noses stubby and round fin ship down, and we dropped and picked up speed, passing 3,000 miles an hour. Down at 3,000 miles an hour, the brown dust of the Texan world leapt up at us. Spacecraft were designed for almost total vacuum of space, should have barely functional in atmosphere, but the script now were scavengers who went from planet to planet, scavenging and stealing before their inexplicable mega experiments, so they needed ships that could actually handle atmosphere. But nothing is really designed to do 3,000 in atmosphere, let alone 50 feet off the ground. We've been 7 miles up right on the edge of the Texan atmosphere, dropped back down to ground level in 5.8 seconds. We both screened a mixture of our horror and shocking excitement. Let me tell you something, million miles an hour, in empty space and an incredible 3,000 miles an hour going straight for the ground. Pull up, pull up, pull up! I pulled up as collision warning screamed in a script not a language. We blew across the Texan desert, trying to sound like booms and must sound like a nuclear explosion going off in our wake. Can we get the Bugfires on visual? I asked. On screen. I saw 2 Bugfires racing after us, one behind the other. Their hulls glowed bright with friction heat, but they weren't backing off. Fine, let's see who's faster. I raised sprint, but a slight lurch, the engines push harder still. 3,200 miles an hour, 3.3k, 3.4k. Hull temperature is, you don't want to know, 3.5k. 3,500 miles an hour. The ground was a blur. We were a blazing meteorite. We were an arrow of flames that shot across the Texan world at impossible speeds. The scruffy bushes and stunted trees of the world burst into flames as we passed over. We were drawing a line of fire on the planet. Pull up! Mountains rose like a wall. Where'd they come from? I cried as I pulled up, straining every atom in the ship. The ship bucked like a dying beast in its final agony. We climbed up and up. Are we going to clear? Before I could answer, we shot over the mountain wall. I also heard the bottom scrape as we cleared the height. Unfortunately, the Earth's new local topography, so they were ready for this. They adjusted easily and it gained on us. A red trick on me and lance passes missing by inches. They're close enough now to shoot. We were approaching a dividing line between night and day. I see it rushing toward me. Suddenly, out of corner of my eye, I saw a lead Bugfire simply explode. The air friction finally wore down. As concentrators in the ship, I burned to cinder in a split second. One year fried, I exulted. Elvenor will be next. We don't slow down. We still have 3 on our tail. We're about 5 minutes from burning up. Can you guarantee a Bugfire's a cinder before we do? What do you have in mind? We take a shot. 1, 2, 3. They won't be ready. They won't expect it. I turned my sock eye and stared at him. No one can take that shot. I can. With Texan eyes, I went for in his face, I'd do realistic. With Texan reaction times, the script not targeting appears, I can make the shot, Elvengor, he said calmly. Look, Albarn, I want to come out of this alive, and you think I don't care, right? Maybe you're right. This hunger... Elvengor, you felt it. You know, but I can make this shot. You always laugh at me for wanting to be a hero. Now he's playing hero. He didn't answer. I looked the whole temperature readout, and he was right. We would send her in a few moments. And you know what's funny? I wanted to ask the captain what to do. It seemed ridiculous I would make a life decision like this. Princes make these decisions. Captains make those decisions. But only I was the captain. And if I was wrong, we would dig a hole in tax and do it at 3,000 miles an hour. Okay, I said. In 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8... Chapter 20. 3, 2, I killed thrust and punched the air brakes. The Skritnot ship shook it, buckled, riled, and vibrated, bounced wildly just 50 feet up off the grass. I was thrown off balance, I sprawled across the deck, Albrun's rose attacks and some legs I was ordered to punch, but he never wavered. He kept his claws on the targeting controls. Our speed dropped from nearly 3,000 miles per hour down to half that in mere seconds, too fast for the fighters to react. What happened next would make Oberon a hero. Our speed dropped off, the fighters rocketed forward and blew past, doing 1,500 miles an hour faster than us. He fired, fired, fired. 3 shots at 3 targets in relative speed at 1,500 miles an hour. 3 shots in atmosphere. 3 shots on a vibrating, bucking wreck of a Shripnaw ship. I drive myself up and stare in disbelief out the forward window. 3 spitting meteorites, 3 balls of flame slam to the ground. They dug craters, attacks in dirt, and extinguish themselves. Nice shooting, I said. Seriously nice shooting. Thanks, it turns out Taxon Sense's reflexes are good at this kind of thing. Guess why they use task controls to fire fires. I swear there's something useful with this disgusting body. We're going to find a way to get you out of the morph, I said. I tried to sound like I meant it. What else could I even say? So I'm busy trying to stay alive to really think about what happened. Maybe we never exactly been best friends, but it was so horrible to look at this body and think that's how he would remain. To look at those emotionless red jelly eyes and realize that he was there looking back, and I knew what he was feeling after the battle was done. The terror, the despair, the awful hunger. I turned the ship around and made head toward the rushing line of daylight. What are you doing? I need a space to land and conceal the ship. I need daylight. I need to be closer to spaceport. We can't leave the Earths behind. The Earths, you mean Alron? And the humans are responsibility. We're not going back to the spaceport. The Earths are there, and Taxons, they might catch us. Do you know what they'll do if they catch me? They'll eat me alive, Elvingor. Oberon, you have to hold on. You have to try and hold on. Racing back toward dark mountains, back toward tree line daylight. Hold on. Are you insane? If we go back to, they'll eat me. Turn the ship back. I'm going to use the time measure. I'm going back in time. I'm going back to my life. You can't lie after the time measure. The power should be visible to every ship in orbit, every satellite, every... I don't care. I don't care if I die. Just let this hunger stop. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. You fool. Don't you know I can eat you right now? I turned my main eyes toward my new inside of a scared Andalite arch, but what I actually saw was the nightmare worm. What I saw was the sloppy red eyes, the gasping, eternally hungry mouth. For a moment, they seemed to stretch and stretch, we stare at each other. I didn't know what was going through his mind right then. I didn't know what conclusions he could reach. I only know what he did. He screamed in a slithering, high-pitched Taxon voice and reared back, practically laying the upper third of his body horizontal. And then he slammed down on me, slams over body down, red mouth wide. I could have killed him. He knew that. He knew Taxon was about to fight an Andalite, but I could not kill him. Not if that's what he wanted. I dodged to my right. He slammed hard in the instrument channel, and sparks erupted. He slipped the other body, tore me open to slam against the bulkhead and stunned me. I leaped aside his reach and struck. Slash. 2 of his knee legs went rolling across the floor. 2 more were gone. He sagged and the front part of his body could no longer be held up. He lay fully prone in a huge helpless worm. Just kill me, he screamed. But I was busy. I controlled him about half wrecked. The ship was bucking and yawning. It was unstable. I reduced power. We shot across the line of twilight, but I couldn't see any deep shadows beneath the mountain. Between mountain peaks. You can't leave me like this. I'm going to get you help, but I have to land this ship. Elvingor, you know what happens to wounded Taxons? You know! I'll protect you, I cried desperately as the ship bucked and shook harder. 2 cocoon scrits seemed to be about to break loose in their moorings after the scrit had gone into a cargo hold. Maybe even intelligent as they were, he knew better to be anywhere near a hungry Taxon. You can't protect me, you fool. Nothing can stop them. Nothing can stop the hunger. I couldn't stop it. Alron couldn't stop it. Don't you understand? I ate Elvingor. I ate that wounded Taxon. I couldn't help myself. Shut up, I screamed. Shut up. I didn't want to hear more. I couldn't. I had to focus. At the land ship where we both die, I had to shut him up. I saw my stalk eyes over a bridge. Where does Skritnaw keep weapons? They are. Green panel marked with Skritnaw script. I stretched my left arm to reach the panel, popped it open. Yes, a handheld Dracon beam, old and dusty and probably badly maintained like most of the things. I found the panel setting and set in the lowest intensity. What are you doing? He yelled. I have to land a ship, Oberon. Keep quiet or I will stun you. If you fire that thing, you'll kill me. You have the settings backwards. That's the Yerk weapon. Setting 1 is highest, not the lowest. Suddenly I knew what Oberon would do. He couldn't rise up, but he could still scuttle forward. He came straight toward me, rushing and slithering, aiming his round mouth at me. He was trying to force me to shoot him with a Dracon beam set to maximum, but it's too fast. I twisted the dial to 10 and I fired. And just as my finger was tightening on a trigger, I realized Oberon had outsmarted me. He lied and I'd fallen for it. He'd always been a better student. He was a qualified exodatologist. He knew alien systems far better than I did. I tried to stop my finger squeeze and Dracon beam fired on maximum power, but by chance or some desperate too late twitch, the beam missed him by a millimeter, and instead blew a 2-foot hole in the hull of the ship. After that, everything was noise and spinning and pain and confusion. Chapter 21. I woke up, I was on my side lying on dirt. I looked up at the red night sky. Stars, galaxy, 3 tiny moons. Where was I? I stood up, every muscle in my body ached. Muscle didn't even know I had ached. My hooves tasted nothing but bare dirt. My stalk eyes swelled to quickly look around, but I realized when I was blind. Now I saw a ship that's now transported so more or less in one piece. That's when it landed somehow. I can't remember much of those last few minutes. It was all chaos in my brain. I focused on the order of facts. I was on a Taxon world, possibly 400 miles from a spaceport. Laura and Chapman were in the hands of the Yerks. Alron, no one knew. Oberon tried to trick me into killing him, that I remembered best. Oberon, I called. Oberon. No answer. I trudged wearily toward the Skritnaw ship. I saw a 2-foot hole made by a Dracon beam. Then I saw the way the engines were ripped half off. Then the ship would never fly again. I climbed the wreckage. My stalk eye went clear, though. I felt it and realized it had been covered in mud. Inside the ship, I called again. Oberon, I looked around. Nothing works except a tiny glimmer of emergency lighting. For some reason, Skritnaw liked their emergency lighting to be green. Who knows why? Something was missing. Of course, the 2 cocoons must have been knocked loose. The door of the freight hole had been blown open, and I went in. The same green emergency lighting illuminated a bizarre scene. In the hole were boxes and crates piled in wild disarray, many had broken open on impact. They spilled an amazing mass of alien-looking wet objects, frozen, preserved animals, bundles of artificial skin that Lauren Chapman wore. Glass objects seemed to contain liquids, antiquated electronic equipment, small objects like hundreds of rectangular sheets of paper glued together on one side. I'm guessing books, and a long crate saying I swear were primitive weapons. All things spread out of blue from Earth. Lauren would know what they were, no doubt, but in addition to all, there were two much larger things. One was a shiny yellow painted creation of 4 black wheels. The arrow was the most powerful thing in history of the galaxy. It looked nothing like a smooth off-white spear, perhaps 10 feet in diameter, perfectly smooth, unmarked. You'd never know what it was if you hadn't seen the power readings. Invisible to the eye, it spread its grid down through the very fabric of space-time. The Time Matrix. I found I stopped breathing and barely imagined the power I was staring at. To move a ship into zero space took more power than a medium-sized star. To move anything through time took 10 times more than that. The power of 10 suns, somehow all contained an off-white spear. "Oh, Brian," I yelled, but I knew he wasn't here. He must have been from clear of the ship just as I had been, only I hadn't seen him outside. And that occurred to me something else was missing too, the active script. Both the script cocoons and the active ones were gone, along with Oberon. I turned slightly over the Time Matrix that had a hold over me and drew my stalk eyes back to it as I walked away. The light of the moons and stars suited him to see clearly, but the impression I was in a narrow valley between tall, almost cliff-like mountains. Where could Oberon have gotten to? Had he fallen from a doomed Skritnos ship earlier? He couldn't have slammed into one of the mountainsides. I hate to even imagine that. I went back inside the cargo hold and made a handful of paper sheaves. Some were larger and had pictures, but I dim green light I just recognized pictures of humans. I flipped through pictures doing things I didn't understand. There was one picture I understood immediately. It showed a marvelously tall waterfall, and it crashed in a pool surrounded by trees, all of them green. Overhead was a blue sky. Two humans were smiling, sticking tiny white cylinders in their mouths. There's a human writing on a picture. I didn't read it very well, but I was sure it was a poem to beauty revealed in the picture. The grass there looked sweet. It would be a fine thing to run there, to learn lore and forget everything that happened, forget I was alone on a planet of evil, my own companion probably dead, my prince lost. I turned to the air pictures, saw small, strange pictures of humans doing nothing but smiling. They were pictures of human technology, a flying machine of some sort, holding rods of spit fire, what seemed to be a hideous city, to my delight a picture of an actual human spacecraft. It took me several minutes to realize what it was. It seemed to be a chemical rocket, an actual chemical rocket. I picture drew my gaze to the ones of beautiful beaches beside blue seas, and the mountains topped with white, and rushing white water streams surrounded by tall green trees. The trees were all similar, not as beautiful as the ones I knew, but they spoke of a lovely world filled with delicious green grass and cool water. The alien landscape of Earth took me away from the drab horror of the Texan world. I wondered if Chapman might have been from the jagged human cities. Was that why he's so much harsher than Lauren? Was she from the beautiful green country with smiling humans stuck white cylinders in their mouths? I guess I fell asleep looking at the picture. I woke with lingering traces of awful dreams from my brain. There was light, natural light from the Texan sun. I ran outside, and as I guessed an incredibly steep valley, I could now see tracks of the orange dirt, marks of dozens of needle-sharp legs, Texan tracks. The tracks came right up to the ship. Had they been came while I was asleep? No, I see my own tracks from the night before. My tracks went over those. Oberon, those were his tracks, had to be, and yet there had been more than one. 3 or 4 others. 5 sets altogether. Now I saw 2 additional signs, a set of wandering insect-like tracks and something large being dragged away. The Skrit, I said. Okay, so Tysus came and took Oberon away, and the Skrit, maybe the 2 cocooned ones. I glanced at the spot where I'd been lying conscious. They had to see me, smell me, but I was alive. They have Oberon, I realized. I reeled back and fell down. The Taxons had taken him. I knew what to do with prisoners. No. What had I done? I had let them take Oberon alive, and yet why didn't they take me and a Time Matrix? Surely Taxon controllers wouldn't have done that. I recalled Subdivision 7's reference to mountain Taxons who refused to submit to your control, and I had just felt the faintest glimmer of hope, but these have been your control Taxons they had taken a Time Matrix and me. What am I supposed to do now? I asked the empty, dusty sky. Should I try and follow the tracks? No. Whatever Texan he'd fallen in with, their hunger would all certainly seal his doom, and a doom that poor Skritna as well. Oberon might still be alive. He was my prince. My duty is to get back to him, tell him the Time Matrix and Oberon, somehow, your transport was hundreds of miles away across burning sands. Then, one of the pictures of the human... One of the pictures I've seen come back to me is showing 2 smiling humans sitting in something very much like the bright yellow machine in the cargo hold. I went back to the ship. Yes, it had 4 wheels. You see how humans might sit in it. It had name in chrome letters, Mustang. Naturally, I had no idea what that meant. I set to work on enlarging a hole in the side of the cargo hold, and I removed the chairs in the machine. I discovered I fit inside if I removed the flimsy cloth top. I stared long and hard at the control panel. The computer was tiny and had knobs you could twist, but first of all it did was make static noises. I discovered an actual tape drive, astoundingly primitive. I pushed buttons on a small keypad and twisted knobs, and I was amazed that the computer began to play music. I can't get no satisfaction, it screamed. I turned it down. What kind of race would use a computer to play screaming sounds? And it took 20 minutes or more for me to realize the notched brass insert would be twisted, and when I twisted it again, vroom. Vroom. The noise is amazing. It was an actual chemical engine. Something from 1,000 years ago. Ridiculously primitive. I found I pressed a full proof and a pound on the floor. The engine roared. Vroom. It was primitive, but it vibrated in a satisfying way. I liked it. Chapter 22. I have run mag hover tracks. I've flown bug fighters. If I can find, I'll show you a picture someone drew of this scene. Oh my gosh. That must be amazing. I've flown Scrutinaut raiders at 3,000 miles an hour in atmosphere, but I never experienced anything more exhilarating than racing out of the valley out and across open Texan desert in my Mustang. You only went 100 miles an hour, with the wind in your face, whipping your fur, bending your stock eyes back. It certainly was a wild ride. But everything was going wrong. I was racing against a Texan as a human vehicle toward probable doom, but the wind in my face, the music in my ears mingling the loud roar of the engine, I didn't feel so badly. I gathered up some of the other human objects Scrutinaut had taken. The writing sheets of pictures, some of the machines look like weapons, some of the glass bottles containing liquid. I broke several bottles so I figured out how to open them. After that, I quickly determined they contained water-based liquids. I poured the liquids in a shallow pan and I would stick one hoof in the drink as I drove. Dr. Pepper, the bottles had said. I figured it was human writing for bubbling brown water. For a while, just put Oberon out of my mind, put Hour out of my mind. I pictured myself with Lauren driving my Mustang across the green grass of Earth, wind in my face, bubbling brown water humming, running up my hoof. And as I drove, I tried to come up with a plan. One thing was certain, Andalite and the Mustang is going to get just slightly obvious. I need stealth, but I wouldn't morph attacks again. Not ever. And that's when the ground beneath my wheels simply opened up. Ah! Boom, rumble. The Mustang tumbled down a steep and rough slope, a dirt ramp that led straight down to darkness. So I hoof off the accelerator, tried to reach the key to turn off the engine, but the vibration was too severe. I slid around and rolled my human engine down to the ground. I now slid to a halt. The only sound was the noise of the engine, a weird human moaning to pass for music. I turned off the music. I was in the darkness, an absolute darkness I expected. The darkness still affords sight. There was light enough for my eyes to see, but after a few seconds I had to adjust. I was in a vast underground cavern down a center cavern, some sort of hill or small mountain. It was a mountain that glowed. It glowed a dim but unmistakable red. When it's a regular glowing hill came tendrils perhaps 2 or 3 feet in diameter, and as Jessica could see there were dozens or more of these tendrils, each us into the edge of the cavern and swept back into the rock itself. And the tendrils too glowed a dim red. I realized there are things moving in the tendrils. They were hollow. There were tubes, each around as big around as a taxon. I saw them then. My eyes finally pierced the dark. I saw taxons, dozens, no, hundreds. They swarmed around over the glowing red mountain. As I watched, I saw holes open the sides of the tunnel tendrils. Out crawled more taxons. They had to see me. They couldn't help me, yet none moved to attack me. They couldn't help but see me, rather. Instead, they busied themselves pushing dirt and rock back into place to fill the space my Mustang created. Is this the creature? Ah! I screamed. The voice in my head was huge, massive. I grabbed my head in my hands. It was like hearing a planet speak, and only then I staggered under the sight below. I realized the red mountain was alive. Heard a different thought-speak voice. Yes, that's him, Oberon said. He is called Elfangor. And one taxing slid toward me with a massive eyes on the base of the red mountain. It could clumsily, 2 rows of legs were short others. Oberon, yes, Elfangor, it's me. I was afraid you're dead. I wanted to be, but I'm still alive, allowed to serve the living hive. The what? He waved when taxing called to her in a massive glowing mountain. The living hive, the lie of the Taxons, mother and father of the Taxons. The hive has lost many of its children to the Yeerks. Many of its servants have been betrayed the hive and made alliance with the Yeerks. But the living hive is still mother and father to the species. Oberon, what are you talking about? Have you done something to you? He laughed, yelled at Oberon again for just a moment. Have you done something to me? Well, they didn't eat me if that's what you mean. They found us after we crashed and wanted to eat us both. But I gave him to Scrit instead. I had no choice. The living hive learned what I was. It drew me here. For hundreds of miles when we landed, how'd you get here? You couldn't possibly have walked. The living hive tunnels sitting across thousands of miles, Elfangor. There's suction in the tunnels. The taxon only has to fold back his legs and the pressure draws us swiftly toward the tunnel as the hive commands. The legs you're missing are growing back. Yes, taxons can regenerate legs. Oberon, what's going on? There was an accident in the ground open beneath me. Did the living hive want me here for some reason? Yes, Elfangor. The hive is angry. At me? I asked you when my guts turned over several times. This glowing red mountain was mad at me. All I do is yell its mouth through a psychic voice and I'd be shattered. The living hive is tired of losing his children to the Yeerks. It is a long sought way to destroy the Yeerk invaders and remove them from his planet. But the hive can understand Yeerks and their machines. But now it has an advisor, someone who understands machines, spaceships, Dracon beams, someone who will help the hive destroy Yeerks and their traitors. You? He laughed, but this time there was no mirth. What better future do I have, Elfangor? I'm a Taxon now. And now I'm preparing for a spy second of spaceport. The hive will send thousands of children with me, and I'll lead a rebellion. I didn't say anything. What else was there to say? My hearts were breaking. He slid closer, shuffling his knee-like legs, looking at me through his jelly eyes, and even now he knew he was seething with raging Taxon hunger. Don't pay me off, Elfangor. I'm glad I didn't die. Any life is better than none, and no matter how awful things seem, there's always a meaning and purpose to be found. And you found your purpose. We attacked tonight. The living hive is pushing their tunnels closer to the spaceport. 1,000 times will pour from the ground, surprising Yeerks and all their creatures. I imagine a moment 1,000 huge hungry worms rotating amid the technological cathedrals of ship cradles, or rotating amidst taxing controllers and harbinger controllers. You'll lose. We know, even a Taxon has the right to control their own planet, even a Taxon has the right to resist an invader. But you can't win. Are lost causes sometimes the best ones, Elfangor? How could he imagine anything to a Taxon ever be a good cause? These Taxons are no less cannibalistic, no less murderous, but if they pose the Yeerks, how could I refuse an offer of help? Tell me what I can do to help, Oberon. That's more like it, Elfangor. We'll put some tailblades to these Yeerks, right? We'll be heroes after all. Chapter 23. All afternoon I stayed in a horrible, reeking, stifling darkness in the underground cavern. Oberon was there some of the time, but not often. Mostly he's communing with the living hive, making plans. He had become a general. He was just a living hive need. He could explain what Taxons would find when they erupted in space for. He could explain how they hurt the Yeerks. I don't know if he told the hive how hopeless the task was. I only know he seemed very alive, almost on fire. Then last handed me, Elfangor's delicate problem I discussed, all around the humans. You know what this is like. Taxing his task controller, taxing his harbinger. No one will be safe from your side. What do you want me to do? If you can find all around the humans, I know what you'll want to do anyway. That's what you want to do anyway, but most importantly get the time matrix safely away. Living hives know we're safe from it than any other living being. I'll take care of it. You need to take the Jahar, I'll help you get to it. And then you can leave with me. No, Elfangor, I'm staying here. We'll lose this battle, but it'll be our chance to hurt the Yeerks. I didn't know what to say. I feel like only Oberon could decide for himself now. I'll tell your parents what— No, Elfangor. Tell them I died in battle. Let them remember me the way I used to be, okay? I don't want them remembering me like this. I don't want them picturing me this way. Oberon, I said by my sudden emotion. I have some last minute playing. We'll put that yellow machine of yours on some of the tubes. You go last after all people have been sent. Drive straight down a tunnel. The tunnel is part of the hive. I'll make sure you get to the right place. And one last thing. Yes? The spaceport will be hell, he said flatly. You won't be able to tell the difference between my Taxons and the other ones, so don't hesitate. Do what you have to do. Then he left. The legs I cut off were half grown back, but I still recognized him moving amongst the others. The launching attack was eerie to watch. Taxons lined up on the tunnels, living high glowed a brighter red, and swiftly Taxons shoved through the slits in the tunnels and were blown down the tubes. We launched at a rate of every 8 seconds or so down 5 separate tubes. Almost half an hour for all the Taxons near the tubes, and it was my turn. I noticed the yellow Mustang that drew a living, pulsating gap in the tube. My maze in the tube stretched for me in the machine. It flattened down and widened, leaving just inches of clearance. I felt a whoosh of air pressure and blew right on a tube. I gunned the engine and went from 0 to 200 miles an hour in seconds. There's nothing exhilarating about this as blasting out a living tunnel closed on all sides, stuck my head to avoid how my stalk eyes scraped off. No light came from the machines on lights, white looking ahead and red looking back. For a long minutes, I raced on to the surface attacks and whirled on my way to a massacre. And then, whoosh, I shot in the air. The engine screamed as the pedals spun madly in midair. I burst to the ground, flew through the air, and saw a flash of explosion and Dracon beam blast. A scene no madman could have dreamed. The engine arced toward the ground. The front wheels hit the engine, roaring. I banged so badly my elbow and floor was straight bloody, and the Mustang dug it in and hollowed away from the explosion and kicked up dirt. Suddenly, a Taxon arrived in front of me. Shwoop! The machine slammed in and burst open like a bag of garbage. I screamed in sheer horror as only one small piece of horror was seen to soon be burned in my brain forever. Taxon cries and Harbinger roars, the shoo-shoo of Dracon beams. Scenes of nauseating violence are everywhere. The battle already raged for half an hour. Half an hour of unarmed Taxons against a belated Harbinger. It was a slaughterhouse. How was I supposed to find humans amidst that battle? How was I even supposed to think? A huge Harbinger spotted me began to run for the Mustang. Only when he got close to he cried, Andalite in surprise and greed delight. He leaped to the moving vehicle. I spun the steering wheel and the Mustang turned sharply. I gunned the engine and woof, hit him in the legs. He cartwheeled over my head and landed dirt beside me. Taxons, Harbinger, Geds all around me. I used the Mustang like a battering ram, mowing down anyone on my way. The Jahar, all I could do was head for the Jahar. The lovely ship stood proud above the slaughter, and there above the ship's cradle clearly still but lights were two strange alien shapes. Two humans walked on 2 legs alone without a tail. The humans. Seething around the sham base of the ship's cradle, 100 Taxons, all pushing and shoving to squeeze a narrow ramp that led to the ship itself. Staying alone on the ramp was a single Taxon, one with 4 legs shorter than the rest. Oberon screamed to slam a Mustang in the mouth of the ravening Taxons. Elfangor, I can't hold them any longer. Are these Taxon controllers or your soldiers? There's no difference, Elfangor, don't you see? Blood's been spilled. The hunger. Stop me, Elfangor. Stop me. With that, Oberon, Arnish, a dome star sword, lost his last shred of control. He turned from facing down the Taxon mob, he turned and ran for the humans, mouth gaping.